Hello, everyone, and come on in to Sports Talk Chicago, talking baseball and Bears today on the show. I'm Joey Christopoulos. You can follow me at Joey Sports Guy, filling in for John Zaglul. Thank you so much for coming into the show. Whether you're listening audio only on your podcast, you can follow us at Google, Spotify, Apple. Whether you're watching us on YouTube, like, comment, subscribe below. Whether you're following one of our great radio affiliates that broadcasting Sports Talk Chicago today, whether that's 98.3 The Life, WKAN, W55 The Ticket, ACTV, JED TV, WJOB, Cities 92.9 Talk FM, or 101.1 Peoria Sports Radio. Want to give a quick shout out to our wonderful producer, John Meadows, working hard, not just at the controls and on the show, but also hopefully, just maybe, huge, big announcement coming for Sports Talk Chicago. Coming next week, a bigger, better way to check out Sports Talk Chicago. Hopefully, I'm going to give you that announcement coming up next week. But look, guys, I'm feeling good today. We're taping this on a Wednesday. It's July 31st. I got my old high school jersey on. Shout out to 2001. Take that, Father Time. And look, as we're heading into August, people, just try and enjoy the summer while you can, all right? Don't whine and complain that summer is almost over. Enjoy the summer that you still have left. We're going to talk Major League Baseball trade deadline. Both sides of town made some trades, made some moves. I'm going to tell you how I feel, what I'm thinking, and that front. But first, got to talk a little bit about the Chicago Bears, who are, believe it or not, playing their first preseason game of the season tomorrow, probably by the time you're listening to this, at the Hall of Fame in Canton, Ohio. They're playing the Hall of Fame game. Chicago Bears taking the field. And there's a couple things I want to get into. We're going to get into the should they play, should they not play. But the big news of the week is DJ Moore getting a huge contract extension with the Chicago Bears before the season starts. I'm going to hit the macro and the micro on this one. Let's start first with the micro. Good for DJ Moore. As I mentioned last week on the show, who I think is the best wide receiver on the Chicago Bears, one of my favorite Chicago Bears to watch in a very, very long time, still very young, gets brand new money, 4 years, $110 million, $82.6 million guaranteed, the most ever handed out of guaranteed dollars in Bears franchise history. That's going to work out to about $27.5 million a year. And I just think this is a really smart move. In the micro right now, you're taking care of one of your best players on the team, one of your leaders who's young, and also, again, you're doing it within the construct of Caleb Williams' rookie contract, which is going to span for the next 4 or 5 years. So as of right now, lock it in, Bears fans. Rome Odunze and DJ Moore are going to be wide receiving options for Caleb Williams for the foreseeable future. I think this helps them out in both fronts. As I had mentioned a little bit in the offseason, that you were kind of noticing a little bit of a top-heavy spend in terms of cap dollars on the Chicago Bears when you signed Jalen Johnson to that big deal. You had a $20 million player in Jalen Johnson. You had a $20 million player in Montez Sweat, and you were giving big-time money, almost $20 million, to Tremaine Edmonds. Where was the money going on the offensive side of the ball? Well, you've seen the contract extension to Cole Kmet. You've now seen a contract extension to DJ Moore. Whether Tevin Jenkins is going to get his money at the end of the year is not for us to figure out right now. But in the here and now, this is a great move for the Chicago Bears. On the macro side of things, Bears fans, to me, signing DJ Moore to this kind of a deal right now, it is saying Ryan Poles is trying to tell Bears fans that he thinks that this Chicago Bears team is going to be competing for a Super Bowl within the next 4 years. Why would you hand out this money to DJ Moore right now and get it done now, jump the market, when we already saw the wide receiver market going crazy? Why would you do that right now if you didn't think the Chicago Bears had a real shot at competing for a Super Bowl in the next 4 years? Am I willing to go there? Man, if I do, I might pass out right here during this show. So I don't know if I'm going to go there, but this move also signals that I think the Chicago Bears believe that they are going to not only be competing for NFC North titles, but I think they think that there's going to be multiple playoff wins in their near future. If they didn't believe that, they would let DJ Moore play out this year on his contract and decide, well, maybe we franchise him. Let's see where we're at. Let's see if he continues to produce. Let's see if he gels and has the chemistry with Caleb Williams. A lot of those things would be a little bit more wait and see. Because if you don't believe that you're not a playoff contender now, or you don't think you're going to be competing for a Super Bowl in the next 3 or 4 years, if you're Ryan Poles, sometimes you just might say to yourself, well, we can just go back into the well in the draft and bring somebody in because we think Rome Odunze is going to be our wide receiver 1 for the next several years. They're not doing that. They're saying by locking up DJ Moore now and giving him the money now, one, they love DJ Moore. They don't want to pay him the $30, $35 million that Justin Jefferson's getting, that CeeDee Lamb is about to get, that Brandon Ayuk wants. They're getting him at 27.5, pretty close, but we will give him a couple of brownie points for getting a little bit under the market value there. But what they're saying is they think this team is ready to go now. And good for them, because honestly, again, when we talk about Caleb Williams and we talk about quarterback play here in Chicago, I think we've had a lot of general managers in this town that have had incredibly high hopes for quarterbacks, but as we've complained, much to our chagrin over the years, they haven't always surrounded them with the pieces to succeed. When we traded for Jay Cutler, who were the wide receivers? Johnny Knox for the first couple of years? I mean, Jerry Angelo literally thought, because I have Jay Cutler, he is good enough to raise the level of talent on my offensive line. False. And my wide receiver room, false. They had to go in there. Angelo had to lose his job. Emery had to come in and immediately trade for Brandon Marshall, draft Alshon Jeffrey. They became a top 5 offense. Same thing with Mitch Trubisky. First year, who do they surround him with? Nothing. The following year, you sign Allen Robinson. You sign Taylor Gabriel, who I still think, that's a story for another pod, but incredibly, one of the biggest X factors of the Matt Nagy, Mitch Trubisky era is Taylor Gabriel and his health. But once they brought some guys in, you started to see some results. All the Justin Fields haters out there. Who were his wide receivers the first 2 years? I'll hang up and listen. The third year, what did they do? They went out and got DJ Moore. Granted, still a disappointing season, 7-10. They moved off from Justin, but look, we saw results when you bring in bona fide wide receivers around a quarterback that you, in theory, believe in. So I think this is a great move for the Chicago Bears. For Ryan Poles, this is a signal to Bears fans that he thinks that we're competing for Super Bowls in the next 4 years. And if that is the case, let's roll it over now into the here and now. Because from what I've been hearing and what I've been reading outside of training camp is that this offensive line is not looking great. The offensive line is struggling. Even the set it and forget it pieces, the guys that, oh, we don't need to worry about him. Word on the street is that Darnell Wright, our second-year right tackle, top 10 pick, he's getting worked by Montez Sweat in practice. Now, you could do a little bit of a, you know what I mean? You could do a little iron sharpens iron. You could do a little bit of a chicken and the egg there. Montez Sweat, fantastic pass rusher, a problem for any opposing offensive lineman. Just so happens the opposition is one of our own right now. But he's having a couple of struggles, and maybe he's getting calloused and getting schooled and learning some lessons early from Montez Sweat. Okay, not a big deal. I can actually handle that right now. But the interior offensive line, which, gosh, I've been harping on all summer long, and this boring, bad baseball summer when we're just waiting for football to start. We're so excited. The two things that I've been pumping the brakes on is, one, I don't think Caleb Williams is going to come out there and be Patrick Mahomes from the jump, or maybe even a CJ Stroud from the jump. We got to temper the expectations a little bit. The other one is that I think this offensive line is going to be a huge problem. And to this point, it hasn't looked great. Get your drinks ready. The Nate Davis is hurt drinking game. Nate Davis is hurt, not practicing. So what do? Are they switching Ryan Bates inside? Is it Coleman Shelton now the center? How does this work? Are they going to have time to get the type of cohesion that they need? I'm going to say it again. if the medicals clear out, they got to sign Connor Williams tomorrow, because I don't think you should move on from Nate Davis. There's a lot of smart people that work the cap that say that, honestly, money-wise, it's not very advantageous to move on from Nate Davis. You're better off benching him and using him as a depth piece, because if someone gets hurt, maybe he can come back and reclaim a little bit of the value that he had when he signed a $30 million deal with the Chicago Bears 2 seasons ago. But look, this is the stuff that when we get excited, and we are excited about DJ Moore and Rome Odunze on the team, catching passes from Caleb Williams for the next 4 years. We are excited about a young secondary, hopefully taking another step. Maybe there's a superstar in there amongst Jalen Johnson getting paid. Maybe Montez Sweat is that 12 to 15 sack guy. It's not fun to talk about the offensive line until it's costing you football games. And then us Chicago Bears fans, what we love to do, we like ourselves a cup of complaint. And we're going to fill said cup up and be whining and complaining about this offensive line costing us football games in October. Look, I'm just trying to avoid that scenario and see if we can play it even, Steven, and give Caleb a fair shot his first year. The last thing I need to be hearing when I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to dress for Halloween is some dude on the radio going, yeah, we'd be up 3-4. We'd probably be 5-1 right now if it wasn't for the offensive line. You know, once we get a good offensive line, then Super Bowl. Like, we've played that game before, people. We've played it before. I just don't want that for Caleb. Not off the jump. Not from a general manager who's a former offensive lineman. Not from a general manager who just gave $82.6 million guaranteed dollars to DJ Moore. If we're ready to roll, let's roll. Look outside your organization and realize that maybe you have a problem on the offensive line. Go in there and fix it. Don't play around the edges and the fringes. Maybe Coleman Shulman works out. Maybe Ryan Bates was the guard / center that should have been on the team 2 years ago when Ryan Poles went after him. But these are hopes. These are projections. These aren't controllable, bankable solutions. I talked last week with the Chicago Cubs about bankability. Jed Hoyer loves to get into projection. Ryan Poles right now, I think, is a little too obsessed with projecting the talent on this offensive line, and I could probably go for a little bit more bankability in that regard. So let's see how it goes over the next week or so, and if we don't see some improvement, we need some reinforcements in here. Because don't go halfway on us now. And you can maneuver things. You can sign guys for one-year deals. Cap casualties. Good problems to have. Too many good players. Good problem to have. Get that offensive line figured out and get it as sorted and cohesive and gel, whatever cliches you want to say. Get that together as quick as you possibly can. Which leads us to, should they play or should they not play? I'm trying to leave that towards the end. I'm going to try and be brief a little bit because I feel like some people will either be watching the show, thank you for watching or listening, either during the game or after the game. I feel like my take following is going to age like milk in the sun, but here it goes. Matt Eberflus, head coach of the Chicago Bears, said that the starters are not going to play. Tyson Bagent is going to get the start for the Hall of Fame game in Canton in Ohio. I'm not going to lose my mind over this one. I am not going to also move off of the fact that I am very, very, very adamant as a Bears fan, mandating even to Matt Eberflus that he has his team ready to play in week 1, something that he did not have last season. They came out flat against Green Bay. They blew it against Tampa Bay, got pounded by the Kansas City. Season up the track before you even know it. Don't want that for this year's team, so this team has to be ready to play. What did he do last season? He didn't play. I think he played Justin Fields, 13 snaps in the preseason. Not enough. So there's two sides of this coin, right? The first one is that would it hurt to have Caleb Williams in uniform playing his first professional game with a bear with a C on the helmet in Canton, Ohio, a place that he hopefully one day aspires and dreams to have a bust unveiled there. and be a member of that exclusive club. That's what Caleb Williams wants. He's said it on the record. It would be a cool, fun first move to have his first game there. Caleb Williams also has talked about his want to get better at cadence, to get better at pre-snap, because in college, didn't have to do that. Clap your hands, snap the ball, let's roll. Has to get better at it. And we have heard reports in training camp about a lot of pre-snap penalties, a lot of false starts, even delay of games. Look, I'm not there, and I'm not trying to put too much into training camp, but delay of games, false starts, that could be offensive line. It definitely can be Caleb. Either way, the operation is not working as smoothly as you want it to be. We have plenty of time. We've got 5 weeks. So on one side of the coin, Caleb going out there and even handing the ball off 4 times could have some sort of benefit for him to get on the same page with the cadence, calling out the play, taking it from under center, running a clean operation for 4 plays, take your helmet off, have some Gatorade, enjoy the night. I can see the value in that. Where I'm going to land on this one is that I'm totally fine with the Chicago Bears not playing Caleb Williams. The first one is, this is by across the NFL, the earliest game that's going to be played by anybody, by multiple days. Chicago Bears just started training camp. And with the collective bargaining agreement, I think they're under 10 practices. Or maybe by the time you listen to this, I think Wednesday is the 10th practice. So, man, they haven't had a lot of time. So if you're saying to yourself, or Matt Eberflus or Shane Waldron, when we go out there, we want to go out there with a certain sense of intention. We want to go out there, we want to work on things. We want to work out there. We want to see results and try and be productive. If they don't think that they're at that level yet, I can understand why they wouldn't want them out there on the field. I can understand the idea of, we're playing the Texans week 2. They're not going to show them anything, but maybe just save it for later. I totally understand that. I will say, though, because I am allowing, as a fan, I'm allowing, how big of me, the Chicago Bears coaching staff to hold Caleb Williams and the starters off the field for the first preseason game. I am still holding to the hope, I should say, that I've said in previous shows, that I think Caleb Williams needs to see not significant playing time, but, man, you got to get him in the 40 to 60 snap range, which is roughly almost a full NFL game. Not too far off of it. I mean, he needs to see multiple quarters, multiple drives. And I think even if it is vanilla, even if it is get the ball out quick, even if they aren't really taking any shots, even if the designs aren't really that complicated or intricate, even if he's not picking up blitz packages, all that stuff, I still think there's value in him at least just getting in and out of those reps with his offensive line, with his offense. Because when you talk about a rookie quarterback, or really when you talk about any offense, the confidence factor, what can zap that so quickly, are the pre-snap penalties. So you want to clean that up. You want to be ready to roll as best as you possibly can. Of course, you want to protect everyone from injury, but I think there are ways to design and scheme that up just a little bit. As long as you're not, forgive me, I love the guy. I've had his back in the past. But Justin Fields not noticing a blindside linebacker coming in and absolutely crushing him as he's holding onto the ball too long in a preseason game. Don't want that, right? We don't want that. But I'm totally fine with them holding out the starters for this particular Hall of Fame game. We could certainly make it about the wonderful Chicago Bears players that are being inducted in the Hall of Fame: Devin Hester, Mongo Steve McMichael. And I'm putting Julius Peppers in that category too as well, because I love watching Peppers play. Racked up some good sacks. We paid him a lot of money. Come on. He could wear a C on the helmet too as well. In terms of the game itself, the guys who am I looking forward to watching here? I mean, I think you got to go young on this whole category. I am excited to see Tyson Bagent play. Preseason is definitely a type of style that can behoove a productive day from Tyson Bagent, getting the ball out quickly. maybe the couple of the safeties that he's going to be seeing out there might not be necessarily on week one rosters, so we can have success there. That'll be exciting. I am very curious to see if Khalil Herbert is in the mix right now. As we're going into the game, I believe Travis Homer is not going to play. You're definitely not going to play DeAndre Swift. You're definitely probably not playing Roschon Johnson either. So they're a little short in the running back room. And if you're talking about a guy who a lot of respected Chicago sports and Chicago Bears reporters have been out there saying that Khalil Herbert might be on the bubble, this could be a good opportunity for him to get some snaps and maybe build some equity, not just with the Chicago Bears, but around the NFL. Velus Jones, when we talk about building some equity, this guy's got to play. I mean, this guy's got to play a ton of snaps. He needs to be a preseason darling. He needs to show this Bears coaching staff and to an extension the Chicago Bears fans that he can do some things out there, that he can catch a football. And with these new kickoff rules, they want him to be a factor. He needs to be a factor to have a place on this team. Otherwise, it just doesn't make a lot of sense. I mean, is it going to be Dante Pettis? Is it going to be Travis Homer? What do we do? Velus can quiet all of those questions by just handling his business and doing the job that honestly he was drafted for, which is return punts, catch an occasional pass, and run an end around and hit that edge with his speed. That third one he's done pretty well. The rest he hasn't done so much. And I'm curious to kind of watch the kick returns, to be honest with you. It's going to look different, folks. And I don't know what kind of effect or change it's going to have. I don't know if the NFL knows what kind of effect or change it's going to have. I just know that it's going to look different. And I'm probably going to have to hold the pee break maybe a little bit longer this time, because I would probably usually go during that kickoff because it's going in the back of the end zone. Who cares? Might stick around now and watch. So they got me. Congratulations, NFL. I'm going to check it out. Another guy I want to check out too as well is Austin Booker. Rookie defensive end. A guy that when we're talking about a defensive line that was 31st in the NFL in sacks, sack percentage, back half of the NFL in quarterback pressure. This is a guy who I'm not saying he's going to come in and play a huge role with the Chicago Bears, but he's a guy who, at the very least, you can plug and play here and there and be a part of a rotation to give you a little juice and maybe sneak in a sack or two this season. If you do that, I think that's the same thing with Dom Robinson right now. Can you come in and give us a little bit of a punch every once in a while? I'm not really looking for consistency with these guys. I'm just kind of looking for a little bit of a flash. So I'm curious to see if he plays well too as well. And then the final one is I am super excited to watch Tory Taylor kick. That's right. I said it out loud. With 2001 Joey buy that? I don't know if he would. We did have Todd Sauerbrunn back then and his cool earring. But look, Tory Taylor, mid-round draft pick, watched him at Iowa last year. Everyone on the optimist side wants to say that he can be a future weapon. Everyone on the pessimist side says, why are you taking a punter in the 4th round? The only way to really suss all that out is to watch a dude hit the ball in the air. And to this point, what we've heard is that he's having an excellent camp. Hang times, high 4s, low 5s. I want to see some of that English that he's been known to put on the ball once it spikes and bounces off the ground. I want to see if he can, let's see if he can pin the Texans inside the 20, inside the 15, inside the 10, maybe even inside the 5. Show me a little bit of it, rookie. But other than that, I'm really just playing around the edges here. This is kind of like the deep cuts, right? If you're listening to an album right now, the Chicago Bears aren't going to be playing the hits. They're going to be playing you, oh, yeah, hey, but have you heard track 10? Track 10 is very cool. If you love the band, you love track 10. That's what the Chicago Bears game, Hall of Fame game is going to be. We're going to be looking for the very tiny little things that I don't know if you're going to be able to read into or really make some determinations on, but these are building blocks, and you want to see the crumbs of success slowly take shape a little bit and turn into a big giant cookie. You're not going to get it from Caleb. You can get it from some other players. And just to round this up, when you give DJ Moore $82.6 million, your general manager is telling every person on that roster, maybe not giving them out money, but he's telling every single person on that roster, hey, I think we can contend right now, and I even think we should be competing at the most elite level in the NFL in the next couple of years. Otherwise, he would have waited on that deal, but instead he did it. So those are the things I want to see from that first preseason game in Canton, Ohio. Congratulations to Devin Hester. Congratulations to Steve Mongo McMichael. Congratulations to Julius Peppers. And we'll see how it goes. Also, quick programming note before we go to a quick break here. We're going to talk MLB trade deadline on the other side in just a moment. I am going to be coming back here early next week. We're going to be doing recaps of Hard Knocks. It starts next week, people. And I'm going to dive right into this. I am so excited to check this out. The trailer was amazing. I don't know how many government secrets we're going to get out of this one, but trust me, I'm going to try and make it fun. I'm going to try and make it entertaining. So we're going to come back. We're going to review episode 1 of that next week, and also do our regular show too as well, and hopefully have an amazing announcement to present to the good people listening here on Sports Talk Chicago.